believe in him? Verbal?
Keaton always said, I don't believe in God, but I'm afraid of him. Well, I believe in God, and the only thing that scares me is cheat codes. It's January 28th, 2016. Welcome to episode 82 of the Cheat Codes Podcast. Thanks a bunch for listening in. The next hour is us drinking a few beers, going over our favorite bits from the past week in video game news, and sometimes a sprinkling of tech and pop culture, just for good measure. My name is Joe Erskine. I am your host. We're coming to you from a police lineup where Benicio Del Toro is speaking something that sounds vaguely like English. Today, I'm here with Cheat Codes contributor Mr. Nikk Hockney Golish.
Give me the keys, you fucking cocksucker.
Cheat Codes community manager and Boss Key game designer Mr. Chris McManus Morris.
Give me the fucking keys, you fucking cocksucker!
Cheat Codes producer and editor Mr. Joe Fenster Arroyo.
Give me the keys, you cocksucker.
And back for his second go-around on the show, Due Process developer, designer, owner, some of that. Him. Mr. Alexander Kobayashi Baard.
What's up, pups?
Hey, buddy. Thank you for being here. Today on the show, we're going to barbershop quartet the crap out of the following main topics. Impostor Syndrome is in the gaming industry is more rampant than you think. One company is making a mobile game to help folks with ADHD, and we'll make mention of the Steam anti-censorship community. And for today's lightning round, we're going to straighten out the limp on the following bits. Video games are coming to Hollywood in a big way this year. And lastly, the Video Game Hall of Fame is taking nominations from the public this year, and we're going to get in on the action. So, Mr. Baard, welcome back, buddy. How are things? What's the latest with Due Process? Fill us in. Give us the skinny.
It's still going. We're still working. Right now, let's see. We are a year into our rebuild of the game, and that's mostly to make sure that it launches smoothly and doesn't fuck up completely. And we're almost ready to show this baby on YouTube again, and really looking forward to that.
Okay.
So.
Nice.
How many guys on the team? Have you guys expanded at all since last time?
We're about like 10 of us right now.
Okay.
Most of them are artists, but there are 4 devs right now.
Okay. And can you clarify for me your job title? Because I clearly didn't do the research.
I'm kind of the project lead.
Okay.
Like, I run this shit, basically.
Okay.
Cool.
I hope swearing's okay. I mean, give me the keys,
we
you
said-
fucking cocksucker.
Yeah,
We said
I think
fucking
we're okay.
cocksucker.
Yeah, but that, to be fair, that was a quote.
Oh, yeah.
Just
It's only,
referencing.
yeah. You must have a clean mouth unless you're quoting a movie.
Okay. Wow.
Wait, really?
Also, that's not true at all.
Yeah. Okay.
Not even a little
Let's
bit.
just put this down in, like, my future biography movie, and then it's all covered. I can swear as much as I want.
Exactly.
As much as I fucking want.
Where we'll do this again at the end, but if people want to check out what's going on with Due Process currently, where can they do it?
Dueprocess.info, because we were too cheap to grab the .com.
Well, they're all gone now anyway, right? Isn't that
No,
a thing?
it's some fucking domain camper has that shit. We'll get him eventually. We'll sue him into
What?
oblivion.
What a dick.
Have you already looked up his who is information? And
Well, it used to be like this fucking just ancient law service. Like someone who probably died like 5 years ago. Because it was like a website from the 1990s. Like just straight up like kind of Web 1.0 type shit. It would be like Web 0.5 actually. Like...
it's a GeoCity site
They were
with
one
animated
step
GIFs.
away
Site.
from the like animated waving American flag,
And a counter at the bottom.
Yeah, exactly.
The whole site's an ASCII.
16 people have visited this page. Yeah, and then it went down, and then some squatter got it. So
Well,
I don't know who they are.
real quick before we move on, it's actually kind of funny you mentioned this because there was some article today that I saw that said that there was a guy that somehow managed to get Google.com underneath Google's
Nice.
nose, and then all right, so the price that Google paid to get it back. $6,006.13. I'll let you think about that for a second.
So Google paid the
Google.
equivalent of 0.00006 cents
Right,
for their domain name.
pretty
Yeah,
much.
but it's funny because in lead it's Google.
Exactly. Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.
You ruined it for all of us.
Sorry.
All right. So we talk and we jest and we go over game news, and that probably sounds like maybe you and your friends, right? But we find that to usually be the case. But we're usually drinking when we do it. So today we're featuring the Best Laid Plans IPA from the Urban Family Brewing Company right here in Seattle. Man, is it good. I'm really enjoying this right now. There's a lot of people swinging the IPA bat these days, but these guys seem to have their eye on the ball, so to speak.
Stop.
Oh, it's so good. You can't help it. It's so good. Anyway. All right, so there's lots to talk about today. Let's get to it. Impostor Syndrome. To get things started, we're gonna bat around the Impostor Syndrome concept a bit. Most of us at this table are relatively new to the game dev world, but maybe a year or two under our belts, maybe not. Rookies, probably in the eyes of our superiors, but we'll see. The industry, I think it's called, or at least referred to. This has been coming up a lot in different articles, TED Talks, etc. People are achieving their goals, getting jobs, shipping games, and getting promotions, and a substantial number of people continue to feel like they're acting on borrowed time, or that meeting these goals doesn't have the value that they thought it might, or that other people might attach it to for them. Richard Moss wrote a piece that we saw on Polygon this week that's pretty in depth, and we're going to use that to get the ball rolling. I'm not sure we're qualified to talk about any of this, but let's do it before someone figures out that we aren't supposed to be here.
I got it.
Imposter Syndrome.
I understand it. I get the joke.
I think Alex especially likes that one.
Too bad mics can't pick up sarcasms.
Like size. Just like frustrated. just like breath
sneered right at you.
The article itself categorizes imposter syndrome as a psychological phenomenon that stops people from internalizing their accomplishments, often to such an extent that they will attribute their success entirely to luck, circumstance, or simple hard work rather than genuine ability. Now, I'm not going to be... Well, I'm going to be presumptuous and assume that at some point probably everyone sitting here at this table or on the Skype screen has dealt with this to some degree. Not at all. Okay, good. That's good. Great.
I'm fucking great.
And he references. We'll get to a few of these examples in a few minutes. But he gets a few indie developers and behind the scenes people from fairly well known titles that talk about their struggles, kind of dealing with this. I feel like this is something that's come up a bunch recently, and I'm kind of curious to kind of like hash it out with you guys a little bit. But Chris, I kind of want to like put this in the ball in your court a little bit here first. I mean, you have a relatively higher profile job than maybe some of us, like working on indie titles versus your free to play AAA title. Is Lawbreakers? Can you call it that?
Man.
I don't know, but I'm curious if this is something that maybe like you got that job, man. At any point have you had struggled with this a bit?
Yeah, see, I don't really have imposter syndrome so much as I just already know that I suck. So
sounds like imposter
This is
syndrome.
like, I'm an imposter. Ask me anything then.
Yeah, seriously.
yeah, man, I don't have to. I don't have trouble internalizing my accomplishments because I just already know that I'm not accomplishing anything decent. So it's totally fine.
You're like a legitimate walking example of it as you explain it. That's just the most ridiculous.
Hey man, I got once this game ships, if people are like, hey, like whoever designed that stuff, good job, then I'll be like, oh, okay, I guess I did a good job. But then if it ships and everyone's like, this fucking sucks, go kill yourself, then I'll be like, oh shit, I guess I suck.
And
Right?
I have
That's
to
how
go
it
kill
works, yeah?
myself?
Yeah, I don't.
You always have that cold
Why do I
voice,
feel like
Chris.
the end game still ends up in suicide either way you go, dude? Why? That's
No,
I've lived a great
I'm gonna hop
life.
on Amazon right now and order my box of razor blades just in case.
oh my god.
If you need a whole box, you're not doing a great job.
That seems like a design flaw in your plan, dude.
Yeah.
No offense, but
No, actually, so it's kind of weird, right? Because when you do something and then you feel like you're solving a problem that you've been having and things are working out, it's great, right? But then as soon as you feel like you solved the problem, but then somebody doesn't agree with your solution, you're faced with this do I not know what I'm doing? Is my solution actually bad, or is there some other aspect of my solution that the other person doesn't agree with because X, Y, Z reasons? And so that makes it pretty difficult to maybe assess your own skill level when you're at kind of the starting point in your career and you haven't really had much feedback from people consuming your work. So I mean, I could see how this is there's this the fake it till we make it mentality, right? So if that's the mentality, then how the fuck are we supposed to not have imposter syndrome, right? You never know when you stopped faking it and actually made it, I guess.
Totally. That's so true.
well, it stands to reason that if you fake it till you make it and then you make it and all you're used to doing is faking it, then How the fuck, like, you don't just show up and arrive and be like, oh, okay, now I'm legit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so, like, that faking it has become a reality to a certain extent, and that's the reality that you're used to dealing with.
If you set proper milestones, I feel like you could notice when you made it.
I have made it when. Did you not fill out your future board in your room?
No, I didn't fill out my future board.
Did Trello not give the notification?
My mom has one of those.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Mom. She won't listen
Alex
to this.
just threw his mother right under the bus.
All right, go ahead.
I feel like this comes sort of from, I don't know, enjoying what you do, though, also, in the way, like, hey, we're all in a career field that we love, and we love doing our jobs to some extent. Like, maybe it feels like we don't deserve it because we're having so much fun actually working on this shit. I don't know. Maybe that attributes to this. Like, oh, I don't feel like I deserve it because I'm not really having fun while I'm working.
Right, like I feel guilty for doing what I love or something.
Yeah, maybe.
I think imposter syndrome transcends the gaming industry by far.
Yeah, I think it's
but
even for any creative, but yeah,
it's more predominant in creative disciplines, according to a couple articles I actually read when I went off on this, the tangent of figuring out where imposter syndrome lives in various industries and whatnot. And I think a lot of it just comes with channeling energy the right way. Like if you get really nervous before you go on stage to give a presentation or a performance or anything, you're going to always have that nervous energy no matter what, but it's how you utilize it, because it can actually be a really positive thing.
How you channel it.
Yeah, to get up there and use it the right way, or it can completely fucking cripple you, and you can't speak in public because that same nervous energy is channeled the wrong way. And I think this is kind of similar in that like you have to understand that you're never going to be as good as you want to be at something, right? So that's a good thing or a bad thing. And I think imposter syndrome is people who think that's a bad thing. Like, oh, I've never actually made it because I'm never going to be good enough, because there's always something I can look at that's better than me in my industry that I think is better than me, and so on. But in reality, you should look at that positively and say, it's nice to know that I get to do this for a living and also continue learning constantly. And the moment you think you're good at something, you're a dumbass, because you never are, right? I mean,
well, you've achieved something. Like it's wrong to assume that, oh, I've mastered this or something like that.
That's
right?
what I mean. Not that you're good at something, but that you're done.
Oh, I figured it all out. Now
I'm
move on.
finished. Yeah, I got it. It's all good.
Well, I think this article also alludes to that whole idea of like insecurity and the projection of those insecurities, and then also the guilt thing, like we were talking about, Nikk, and whatever else you want to wrap into that ball, like self-deprecation. Chris, I think you've kind of mastered that art clearly, and and all that kind of comes into play here as far as like defining what this is. You know what I mean? Like, I think we've all been in a position, or I know that I have. I guess I'll stop speaking for everybody now, but I know that I have, where it's like kind of like, I'm not sure how I ended up here. I'm not sure why this happened. Like, do I deserve it or not? And as soon as anybody that's acutely self-aware enough to kind of start asking themselves those questions, it's hard not to have those tendrils of the imposter syndrome kind of settle in, right?
Right.
All right, Alex, you've been biding your time over there. Chime in here.
I don't know. I've never had imposter syndrome. I am just really used to not knowing what the hell I'm doing. That's all.
Just comfortable with the
fact
fact
it's a
that
natural state of being for me, of just, no, it can't be that hard, right?
But that's right? Yeah, that's a positive
do you
thing.
want me to validate that? Or?
But yeah, at the end of the day, right? I mean, that's being content in the fact that you are always aware that there's something to be gained, right? There's something else to learn, and that you're not going to be perfect at whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah, I guess. I think the comforting fact is this industry is full of imposters. So, like, I just look out there and see some of the decisions that are made, and I'm like, yeah, I could do better than that. I could not fuck up so horribly. That must not be hard. That's my opinion. I'm gonna fuck up in all sorts of ways I don't recognize, but
not in that way.
I'm always comforted by that fact of, like, you can look at certain games, which I won't name, but
we were all waiting for it.
Yeah,
we were waiting for it. Yeah.
What do I do? Name it at that point?
No. You don't have to. It's fine.
That would be improper, and maybe I might need a job from them one day. We'll see.
It sounds to me a little bit like you said. You're used to the idea of not knowing what it is that you're doing, right? Or having questions and and I think Joe made the right assumption in the sense that, like, so you keep learning and you keep pushing forward, right? But it sounds to me also like you don't wallow, or wallow is probably the wrong word, but you don't like let yourself get stuck in that kind of despair tornado. You know what I mean?
Despair tornado.
That
could be like
Vortex of despair.
Vortex of despair. Thank you.
Despair tornado.
It's the same fucking thing.
That's the sequel to Sharknado.
Sharknado. Yeah, but it's like you just keep pushing forward. Like, don't stop to look behind you. Just keep moving forward. Essentially, is what I got out of what you said. So
Yeah, I tend to deal with failures really easily. So
I have a question for you then. This is a decent follow up. Do you actually take credit for your accomplishments then, or do you find yourself brushing off when you've achieved something as not an actual achievement?
it's not that it's not an actual achievement, or that I brush it off. It's just that I don't care. Like, I'm much more interested in hearing the negative feedback because I know the positive feedback. Like, I know what's going right, but I don't know what's going wrong necessarily.
Interesting.
And one of those things kills you, right? So, I don't know. It's just, it hasn't been much of an issue for me.
okay. Well, you brought up something kind of valuable here. Nick, go ahead real quick if you want.
Oh, I guess I don't know if we're all relating a little bit to it. I guess I would say, like, I don't feel like an imposter in my job, but sometimes I feel like the way I got the job may have been just by like pure luck or something. As maybe that's the imposter syndrome. There's something like
That's a fair.
It could be.
That's a fair statement for sure.
Fair enough. I mean, I appreciate.
ideal.
I'm not saying it is. I'm saying I appreciate how you think about it. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that might be something that crosses your mind.
I'm just trying to think of it a different way. I guess like maybe it's not like I feel like I can do my job and I don't really have a problem. Like, I'm confident in my job abilities, but
why did
I get it?
Yeah.
Or in a sense, as opposed to somebody else.
Okay.
Like,
I feel like the more abstract the problems are that you're trying to solve, maybe the more prevalent this feeling is, right? Because if you're, say, solving some sort of like complex programming problem and then you figure it out and then it works, right? Like, you have a very like clear, like, I solved it, it works. Like, no one can like say that it's not because here it is. But like for stuff that's more subjective and based on like some other person's experience, then it might be more easy to lose confidence in yourself, even if you're fairly certain that you're right. So then you fall into the trap of like, well, I'm not really sure if I solved the problem because like this person's saying yeah and this person's saying no, and there's a whole gamut in between. And so maybe that's part of it with especially people that are working on smaller projects all by themselves, where they have to do a lot of stuff like, all right, cool, I got some stuff moving around the screen, but I don't actually know if my game's any fucking fun.
Right. This reminds me of, and bear with me here, the author of Eat, Pray, Love did a TED Talk that I saw.
Okay.
And
Julie Roberts. You're
hey,
saying.
I
Julie
said,
Roberts did a TED Talk?
I see. Really? Now, remember when I prefaced this with "bear with me"? God damn it.
We're bearing.
how long are we supposed to be?
Yeah, right. Clock's
Well,
ticking, dude.
longer now because you're not letting me. This is I don't know if you know the term genius didn't used to mean you are a genius. Like, you wouldn't say like, hey dude, you're smart, you're a genius. It used to be used as a term of you have a genius, and a genius was essentially like a mythical elf creature that lived in your walls and gave you all your talent. And so it was this weird way of disconnecting you from your ability to accomplish something great, so that if any time you did something amazing, people would take the pressure off of you from being the person who did it. And then if everything went to shit and you could no longer paint this amazing, the next painting you do sucks, or your sophomore album is ass, then people don't blame you directly because they just assume that it meant the genius left. Like,
Yeah, they're just like, that fucking elf packed up and left.
Everything's the elf's
Right.
fault.
Right. So essentially, well, no, because they left, they're going to
but
impart their genius on somebody else. But the idea this is how the term genius used to be used.
Well, people like that's genius. Like, you're saying, like that is something, and that's genius. It's the
Right. But I'm talking much
This is the antiquated.
longer
That's
ago.
sort of like, that's sort of creepy, dude. Like, there's a fucking elf living in my walls that's like subtly imparting things into my mind. Like, I don't know if I'm like cool
I'm
with
not
that.
sure it's imparting.
Yeah, it puts its finger in your mouth while you're
yeah,
sleeping.
it's more.
Or your hand in a bowl of hot
its
water.
finger
Yeah.
anywhere else, and I don't know about it. It
Sure.
could be, in my mouth after it's been somewhere else.
Well, they
while I'm
got
sleeping.
elves have small fingers.
I think Kanye's elf was named Amber Rose. But
Man, I really
So
feel
is
like
it
the point is being
whole
lost.
thing up there?
All right, before we do move on, I think you actually mentioned this earlier, and by mentioning, I think you just said the word failure, and that reminded me of something. And So is our perception of failure kind of like fueling this though? Like the assumption that like you have to succeed at all times and that failure is wrong and bad, and therefore that kind of fuels the idea that an imposter syndrome exists for that person because they're afraid of failure, and therefore like they'll keep doing their job in such a way that they accomplish the things that they're supposed to accomplish on a day-to-day basis. But it, like, instead of treating failure as like a bad thing, it's more of like maybe do we all just have the wrong perception of failure?
Yeah, you're all wrong.
I feel like part of it is not just failure, right? Because like any smart enough like creative knows that like you learn from failure, but it might be like a sense of my success is undeserved or it was accidental.
Okay,
I think it comes from that the accidental success. That's the story in this article.
Right.
A lot of games like the Oregon Trail, or I can't think of
Thomas Was Alone was the other one, and then the girl from Bungie.
Stanley Parable.
Stanley Parable
and Beginner's Guide.
I think
David Reed.
I think like a good like rule of thumb should be like, hey, if you've done more than one good thing, then you're a good person. Like if I only did one thing, then maybe it's accidental. If I did another really good thing, then it's intentional maybe. So like if I was involved in
mathematically or like factually.
I just said if I was involved in two
linear extrapolation.
If I was involved in two good projects, then maybe there's something to me that made those two good projects. But if I was involved in one of the good projects, then maybe that project was good by luck. So if you only were good in one project, then you're an imposter. If you were good in two projects, then you're a good person.
Okay.
It's a hell of a stretch to make. It's a hell of a stretch to make.
I get the feeling that you may not have read the article yet. I get the feeling because literally the premise of the article is talking to indie devs who had one breakout success, made a second game that was not successful, and then completely beat themselves up over the fact that they feel like an imposter in the industry. Seriously, that's multiple scenarios in this. So now I want to hear you say this again after hearing this. Does that really make you an imposter because you couldn't do two like hits?
No, I don't. It doesn't. I don't think so. But I was just giving an example of like myself maybe in the industry. I would think if I only did one good thing, then maybe it's like, oh, I did that by chance, or I was involved with the right people. If I was involved in more than one project that was a good success, then maybe I had some hand in that success. So like I can give myself some credit. I guess in this context where like people only have one, they've only had one title and then they put out a bad title, I wouldn't give up hope. Like that's a completely different
you can still not be an imposter.
So like backhandedly encouraging. You're like, yeah, don't give up.
I'd get I'm not saying give up. Like maybe there's a down like some game that didn't do that well in the middle, but then you had another good game. Then you're good. Then you're good. I don't know. Like,
so persevere is what you're saying.
Just keep going. Just keep.
There you go.
Just keep.
Isn't it like immediately understandable why a game didn't succeed though?
Oh yeah, in a lot of respects.
I think it can. I think most respects it can, but at the same time,
I don't think
like,
it defines the individual making it though.
Well,
and that's where we get.
Like I'll give you an example, right? Like I think Clay's Invisible Ink, for instance, was like a really good game, but kind of got short shrift, whether that be marketing or whatever. You know what I mean? Didn't make as much money or didn't do like everything else. So like is that an exception to the rule then?
I don't know if Invisible Ink is. What's the rule here? Let's start with that.
The rule becomes that like if you know that a game is bad right away.
Oh, I don't think it's bad. It's just like bad is not what causes sales to happen.
No, I'm just saying like all right, but sales can be a statistic to gauge success. Yes.
Success, yes, not necessarily a great game.
If you want to define success as sales, fine, yeah. And
I'm not saying I want to do that. I'm just using that as an example.
But let's go ahead and do that.
All right, you're doing it. I'm not. I'm just saying
that's fine.
Okay.
Right? Hypothetically, if you're gonna bind your definition of success to sales, right, then there should be immediately understandable elements as to why your game doesn't succeed in meeting those sales, right?
Okay.
Like, I mean, there's a reason why Call of Duty comes out every fucking year.
Yeah.
Because they're proven elements that we know the gaming audience wants to play. Mm-hmm. And it turns out if you release them every year, you make an ungodly amount of money. But my point, it's not that we should be all Call of Duty factories, right? But it's just the case of Invisible Ink, right? Like, I don't know. How did that game sell?
Apparently not as well as it should have based on the reviews it got.
Well, based on no one buys games that fucking get good reviews. What are you talking about? Like Ico would be like fucking game of the century then, you know.
But people are still fucking amped as fuck for whatever the one that's coming out with the big
saying, like,
cat dog with wings.
The Last Guardian.
you're Last Guardian.
You're talking about
Thank you.
dog
with wings.
Man, you did a
I really
bad
want to
job
play
of
the cat dog game, by the way. Oh my god.
Thank God for Chris Morris.
My
Yeah,
point is,
thanks,
it's
Chris
just
Morris.
like
You're welcome.
you can kind of tell when your game's risky. You know,
When it's risky or when it's bad.
risky.
Okay, so I'm just going.
That's
Like
the
I'm
only
referencing
thing that
the
matters.
No,
right?
fair enough.
Like in the case of sales, it's not quality of the game.
Okay.
Like that. No,
Well, we
we
can
can
come
fuck
up-
if your game's good. That's not what motivates them to buy it, right?
Okay.
Like, is that they see certain qualities that they associate with other games or other experiences, and that's what gets them on board.
Right.
So if you're going to do something like Invisible Ink, which has like a stylized art style, right? Like, yeah, it's a fucking uphill battle. I mean, this is coming from someone who's doing a stylized art style myself. You know, like it's a lot easier to just make a modern military shooter and then win.
Well, fair enough. I guess what I'm latching onto is the first thing. It's like you know right away if a game is good or bad, right?
In the context of being the player or being the developer.
As a player.
I don't necessarily know.
Well, all right. So, but what about it as a developer?
'Cause
Then
a
you're
lot of
saying
people
it's an
will-
easier distinction to make.
It's not good or bad is not the quality that determines sales.
Okay.
Right? Like I'm saying,
Well,
you put on,
let's push away the sales thing. I got back to the original statement. I got because I'm genuinely curious.
Okay, so if you want to define your own success of the game, right? Like it's just a question of did this game accomplish whatever goals you set out to accomplish,
Okay.
right? If that's sales, then I mean, like for almost anyone who isn't like bankrolled by some benefactor, right? Sales factors into this, right? But if people were doing, if sales is the only motivator, you wouldn't see the indie games that we have out here,
Right.
You know?
No,
Absolutely.
I'd agree with that. So 100%.
But before we move on,
Sure.
I'm curious whether or not everybody else has this experience. As far as I recall, growing up, and to kind of return this to the idea of the imposter syndrome, I think it might be perpetuated in our heads when we're young all the way up because people teach us that, you know, they always do this percentage breakdown. Oh, it's like 50% is everything you put into something, and the other 50% is after you put it out there and just pray to God that it works, right? It's as far as I was raised, a large chunk of what you create in any creative medium or industry is luck, and a large percent is hard work. So the people who make shit don't really show up at all because they're all the way down here. But people who make great things, and then the rest is up to whether or not it worked out, like whether or not you were lucky enough for it to snowball.
Okay.
Did everyone else have that impression growing up when you're taught about creating something that gets put out to the public? Not from a marketing perspective.
No, I don't.
I didn't go to an art school, so no.
Yeah, I was
Okay,
never
interesting.
taught. I was never
No,
taught
that was never taught at all.
I was encouraged to do to make stuff. You know what I mean? Like be creative or whatever that meant. Like draw.
But when someone said when it comes down to success, after you've put all your hard work in,
It was
how
never.
much is luck to
It
you?
was never about success. It was about do it because you want to.
But if it was about success,
Okay.
Is luck
I guess
a good
the
term
most
for
like
that?
poignant thing that
That's what
someone
I was
ever
taught.
said to
That's
me
why
is
I'm
that like
curious.
success is basically, man, I don't even know who said this, right? But like the intersection of like hard work and like seizing
Fucking
like
Alex
opportunity.
Bruce always repeats that.
Yeah.
I don't know who he stole it from though.
So anyway, it's which
he,
is
he
like
says
you know,
he says, to be clear, he says that luck is the intersection of opportunity and what was the other thing? Do you remember?
Hard work.
like hard work, right?
No, it wasn't fucking hard work.
Whatever. Anyway,
drinking excessively.
Yeah.
Preparation.
Excessive
it was
drinking.
preparation.
Preparation,
The intersection of hard work or fucking. God damn it! Now you got me doing it. Hard work doesn't matter at all. Like it's the intersection of preparation and opportunity.
Doesn't preparation take hard work?
yeah, but preparation is
Not good.
basically doing. You're like you did the work so that you're prepared, right?
Yeah.
To take the
Yeah,
opportunity.
but like when
You
people
did the
say
hard
hard work, I picture like banging on nails with fucking hammers, right?
Well,
like,
but then there's like the groupie theorem. It's like groupies prepare themselves to be in line to get banged by a rock star, right? So
Wow, what a deviation.
I'm just saying, like, there's no hard work involved there. It's preparation. Like,
Well,
Can we
hard
talk
work,
about
dude.
for a second that it's a huge shame there aren't groupies in this industry?
I don't know.
I'm okay with
I've
it.
heard.
I don't
that
even think
getting
that's
cut?
true either, actually.
not for nothing. I feel like all that's going to do is just like fuel imposters more, because it's a bunch of nerds sitting around with like hot like chicks or dudes, whatever, you know, however you swing, like hanging around. You're kind of like, this doesn't feel right. You know what I mean?
Like,
Like,
being an imposter be that bad though? Like, we're the groupies there.
Well, technically, we're
I
all
would just
apparently
accept
imposters,
Well,
according to...
in my opinion, this is why we drink beer, because it makes everything easier at that point. Like,
Because no groupies, that's why we drink beer.
exactly. There you go. All right, we're gonna move on. Apparently, games might help you if you have ADHD. We talk a good bit about how games get blamed for stuff and how games are incrementally providing some sort of data that they can actually help people in specific ways. But with that in mind, Fortune posted a story this week about how people dealing with ADHD, among other conditions, might find treatment in one company's mobile game. Is there anything games can't do, you guys? Maybe we need to get these guys to develop a game that treats those of us with imposter syndrome. You're so welcome. You're fucking welcome. Every single one of you is super welcome. Akalai Interactive, I guess that's how you pronounce it, has raised $30.5 million to fund a mobile game that's designed to help folks that have been diagnosed with ADHD, autism spectrum disorder, depression, and possibly Alzheimer's. It's called Project Evo, and they've spent a bunch of time kind of obviously gathering money, because it's a Fortune article. That's what they care about.
Yep.
And but also data, and kind of experimenting with... It's a bit unclear from the Fortune article about what the genre of the
This is
game
my favorite part.
Yeah.
I read the whole article. It's a Fortune
Like,
article, and they'd never explain what
the game is. Yeah.
No, they did.
The byline up top is
Oh, it just
it's
said,
an action
by the
game.
way, it's an action game.
No. But there, I just remember very distinctly in that article, they explained at one point that part of how the game addresses ADHD is it makes people focus on certain objects in the level.
Yeah.
And the object they gave as an example was a rock.
A rock.
A fucking rock. Hey kid, you want to cure your ADHD? Stare at this fucking rock for 8 hours.
Apparently, that's worth $30.5 million. Everybody, just so you know.
$30 million.
Yeah.
Oh my
Somehow they don't get distracted and do something else.
I could make this game about staring at a fucking rock all day for like a fraction of that price.
And then you can go and do it in real life. For
I'm
free.
glad you brought that up, because that's what made the article so weird to me, because it said in the beginning, it was like, by the way, this is an action game, and then there's that thing where it explains how it was curing ADHD, and it was like staring at an object.
Well, staring at a rock.
Staring at a rock is an action.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but oh my god, it's how Fortune thinks action games are, or it's actually an action game where they found a way to make you focus on certain things, like while you're playing it. Like let's try and be positive about what maybe they're actually trying to accomplish.
Right, and I'll get to that in a second, but go ahead.
Aside from that, it could be like finding ways to make somebody who has trouble focusing focus.
Right.
And if they do it in an environment that makes that individual happy most of the time, like running around and shooting a bunch of shit, if they can find a way to make you like stop for a second, look at something, I think that's a big accomplishment for somebody who has a lot of trouble paying attention in general, right?
Okay.
So maybe they did not do a good job explaining it at all, but I want to hope, like in my head, that it has something to do with that.
See, my shrink was explaining to me that why I was so addicted to Battlefront, which I'm really good at, by the way.
Get the new
If you
one.
guys want a partner.
Are you
Yeah,
good
they
at
do.
it because there's actually no fucking metagame?
I heard they nerfed.
There is a
fucking-
meta game. It's called Jump Around with Bowcasters and kill everyone.
Yeah.
And then they nerfed that.
They nerfed the
Thank
DL44 too. I'm a little
God. I
upset about
killed
that.
my gun, I know. But it was worth it, as long as all the other stuff. Anyway, point is, Shrink told me that the reason why I like Battlefront so much and that it's such a big problem for my productivity is because the kind of scheduled rewards of a game like that kind of hit us in the right way. Of just sort of, some people are very rewards based in their motivation, right? Like in kind of serotonin or dopamine. I don't know. I am not a fucking shrink. Point is, That's why I play Battlefront. So what you're telling me is if you give me an alternative video game that doesn't involve flying around in jetpacks and shooting people in the face with blasters, and you give me a game that causes me to stare at a rock for 8 hours, I think that could cure ADHD, you know?
But what if the game
Just
was
8 hours
shooting
straight
a bunch
of
of shit?
staring? Well, then it's not doing its job.
But with moments,
Because we have those games. Did they cure ADHD? No.
they
It's the
may
most
do they
prescribed
perpetuate
condition
it
of all time.
Well, what's weird about my wife works with a family that has 4 kids, and one of which has fairly severe ADHD, and so I hear a lot about the issues that she has with him and stuff like that throughout the day. And what's interesting is most of the time what he wants to do is not do the things he's supposed to do and go play a video game. Now, when he goes in the other room and plays a game, he's going to keep playing that game. So already, maybe video games in general
it's that
have
scheduled
already
reward, right?
Yeah.
Like, because fucking everyday tasks are so fucking mundane. I mean, you just sit around banging away at your computer, and then maybe some new code comes out and you actually get something done for the day, and that's great. Woohoo. But compared to the thrill of blasting people in the face, yeah, everyday life is it's shit. It's absolute shit. There's no cool things in doing your laundry or cleaning your room or doing your homework, right? And these games offer you an escape from that where every action is rewarding. You know,
man, it's like someone ought to make an edutainment game that has where
you stare
the
at a
same
rock.
engagement intervals of Battlefront, but actually teaches you something. Bring back Math Blaster, dude. That's what I want.
Well, but then it would still
Math Blaster VR.
it would still exacerbate your ADHD. You'd just be mathematically
Yeah, but at least I
oriented.
learned math.
But it's constrained, right?
Yeah.
At least I learned math.
Math is pretty important.
Math is pretty important.
At least I learned math. Okay.
So this company did a study that was done around a sample group of about 80 kids, 8 to 12 years old, and it quote seemed to show the Project Evo improved their attention and memorization. They even had a Duke professor get on board and say that the results were warranted to continue work as a potential alternative to medication. That's not a direct quote, but the sense here that they're coming up with the whole motivation behind this is trying to come up with a alternative to meds.
After the game was over, they were able to memorize and recognize 5 of the 7 rock types that they experienced throughout the game.
It's igneous, volcanic,
sedimentary.
Metamorphic.
There you go.
There we go.
Nick,
Geology 101 over here. Yeah.
Nick, would you like to
I watched the
share
Magic School Bus.
No.
any information about
ADHD?
what it was like? Well, you don't have ADHD, right? You
I have ADHD.
I thought it was
I was
ADHD.
diagnosed ADHD.
Okay. So
you're one of the 11% of Americans that are. Well, you're not between 4 and 17, so not really. But
No, so I'm not between 4 and 17.
No.
Sorry.
okay.
I guess what do you want to ask me? I've been diagnosed with ADHD. I haven't been paying attention to what you guys have been talking about.
So I think other than taking the piss out of a mobile app that lets you stare at a rock,
I feel like the rock approach is actually really effective. You just
go on.
if you just were to have some rock and you if you just every time you looked at it, you got some points or something, and then you looked away to go do something else so you could get more points. I feel like that would work really well.
You can't award the points though.
No, you as long as I'm within I'm making up a game in my head right now. As long as I'm within 20 meters of the rock while I go gather resources or something. I'm imagining Minecraft where there's one block that is the rock.
A central pillar or something. Yeah,
the rock block.
Yeah.
And
named episode.
and I have to go do something, but then look at it I'm sorry, I turned real quick.
Talk away from the mic.
Yeah. But I don't know. I feel like that would work.
Okay.
It doesn't accomplish anything, but it teaches you, I guess, that thing's important, I suppose.
So here's maybe, because I'm not a scientist and I'm also not a shrink, but let me ask you this. Do you feel like video games have been... All right, well, the answer to this is yes, because you've made it your career. But do you feel like by playing video games or something that, in whatever, treatment you've taken or not, I'm saying, do you feel like video games have been a positive aspect in dealing with ADHD?
No. But,
go on.
I don't know. I don't know. They were definitely a distraction in high school, but high school doesn't matter, and all you kids should know that. But... college is what really matters. You need to apply yourself
Don't
in
go
college.
to school, kids.
Cheat Code's youth outreach program.
Like the only times I really struggled with ADHD was when I was like struggling against my parents to take my medication. I feel like ADHD, I don't really feel like as an inhibitor. It's more of like I can think differently than you, so that gives me an advantage in a way.
Nice. Okay.
And a lot of
Good way
people
to think about it.
a lot of people think that way also, that have ADHD, and people that have ADHD have been like known to be like the best like multitaskers ever. They can do whatever the hell they want. They can do everything at the same time. And if you can learn to like control that as like an adult, you're almost like a mutant.
Super.
Like you're Inhuman or something, or like from X-Men or something,
Okay.
or like I got superpowers.
Mr. Multitasker. Yeah.
I can think of random stuff like
the shittiest
like-
mutation.
it's not even that bad. Like, yeah, you guys are talking about all this shit, and I immediately think about like, I don't know, clams, or like I can relate it. Sure, I
No,
can
see,
relate
I
it.
know for a fact that he brought that up because at some point he actually went to a clam tangent.
I can think about stuff. Like I it's like you say something.
You're like, I'm pretty sure I don't need to pay attention to this, so I'm going to think about something
I
else.
know what you're going to say
On a
already.
side note, what do you think about when you think about clams?
Yeah,
I
where
don't-
did clams come from?
I don't know, like boating maybe or something, or
Boating?
Fishing.
yeah. I think
Clamming.
no, I think about my mom because of
'Cause they're
Deadliest
clams. Oh my
Catch.
God.
She was on one of the Deadliest Catch like boats at
Yeah.
one point, and they catch crabs.
Clams. Oh,
They catch crabs.
crabs.
Yeah,
Okay.
they catch crabs.
They catch
have you guys,
crabs.
have you guys even seen
I know
Deadliest Catch?
Deadliest
Yeah.
Catch, yeah.
Okay, well, she was on one of the boats. One of the guys is a programmer, I remember here, and she's like, "Oh, I should hook up with this guy because she's got a programmer, but because he's a programmer." But
No, I like where
because
this is going.
Keep going. Yeah.
because of crabs, obviously clams, because they're crustacean in a way. But you know,
Who was in?
I feel like I just rode that wave.
who was
Do you know what I
in?
mean?
And that clam was in The Following with Kevin Bacon.
yeah, there was.
Colonel Mustard killed the chef in the library with the candlestick.
And that's how babies are made.
That's how babies are made. Exactly.
Wait,
but
I have no idea where the fuck we are right
No.
now.
I feel like we're the
You're
stream
in the
of
mind
consciousness
of an
thing.
ADHD
Yeah, this is like stream of
individual.
consciousness shit right here.
Why'd
I'm
you
sorry,
record it
Chris. I
everything?
didn't hear what you said. What'd you say?
I said chimpanzee riding on a Segway, chimpanzee riding on a Segway.
And that's how we move on to the next topic.
And I think that's a very good place to move on to the next topic.
that's where I would have moved on.
he's already thinking about clams.
Yes. It's tuned
No,
out.
it's crabs.
I think it's just crab,
It
but
was
that's cool.
Okay.
Anyway, all right,
Crabs.
we're gonna talk about the cut content police next. There's a
Are these
Steam.
the people that make sure that your cocaine is pure or what?
Yes, that's exactly what this
They
is.
cut the content.
There's a Steam group that some of you might be familiar with that serves to alert people to the fact that games may have been edited, modified, or cut from its original intended release. By using Steam's curation features, they're taking a certain stand about transparency and providing, if available, info on how to get access to these unedited games. For a platform that's known for sort of policing itself, this goes a little bit against the grain. So are these folks just providing a desired service, or is this just a subversive measure to promote, quote-unquote, adult material? The answer is both, but let's comb through this with a fine-tooth tentacle.
don't knock
Are you-
adult material?
Yeah.
for what
Well,
we're
I think
talking
adult
about.
material, not necessarily in like the triple X kind of context, more of like, is it rated R? You know what I mean? Like,
And Joe Erskine, are you a member of this community?
I am not, but I did see this article and I did get curious a little bit because
Did you get a little bi-curious?
Got a bit tentacle curious.
H curious. I don't
Off
know.
the rails.
Yeah, and we're good.
Love it.
So while most like the curator system on Steam, right? Everybody's familiar with this. We have one for Cheat Codes podcast. You guys should check it out. Most curators recommend games. Let people know. Right.
Here, you should play this.
Right.
It's cool because 140 characters or less, pretty much.
Or we featured on the show. That makes it cool. So play it. The cut content police let you know which games have been edited, meaning like if it's been altered in some way after its initial release, that like sent in a way boiled down to brass tacks here. It makes sense to kind of like know that this is more about an issue of censorship, and these guys basically kind of like let you know which anime games
Most of them were anime games.
they were.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Like,
Which is
Anime games.
Yeah, you care to explain yourself?
Well, these are not games. These are not. Dude, fucking Alex is about to fucking choke right now.
The day Erskine confused hentai and anime.
They're not the same thing? No? Okay. You learn something new every day, I guess.
Purposes, they are.
Okay.
Well, hentai is called, it's called super fan service.
No, hentai actually means perverted.
Well, yes.
So
Thank you. I wasn't hoping for a real definition, but thanks.
I actually thought he was going to say. I thought I was going to say.
I
I
think
thought
it
he
just means pervert, actually. But.
I thought he was going to say hentai actually means clams, but
in some sense.
good one. Good one.
What I would do for a rim shot sample right now.
Wait, I thought you said something else.
Rim what?
God damn it! This episode sucks.
Kai, I've got to come back here more often.
Yeah. The group's creator and curator, I guess you could say, Marasame, feels that this kind of information should be transparent. So he created a group to not recommend games, but basically let people know that there is a game on Steam that has been edited from its original content, either cut or changed based on some sort of censorship basis, meaning like, oh, this has got too much anime sex and too much cursing or something. I don't whatever you want to call it, anything that might be considered like questionable material for younger players or users.
So the purpose, though, of this, to be clear,
yes.
if people aren't following exactly, the idea is that
I don't blame you if you're not
Steam
following.
is that Steam has sort of a monopoly over PC games, and we're in a market
as a
space.
platform to get
here's where I go to buy all my games. So if I'm going to buy a game, then I'm going to buy it through Steam, and if I'm going to buy this game that was ported over from a Japanese release to an American release, I'm going to buy it on Steam, and people don't think twice about their purchases. And this curator account was created to say, like, hey, stop these games they made changes so that they would abide by the Steam terms of service, right, or whatever it is to get into Steam. Do not assume that just buying it here means you're getting the game that you were supposed to get by this creator.
Right.
Instead, use our internal Steam curation service to tell you not to buy this game on Steam, but to buy it via X or Y source,
or buy it here, and then we'll get you
the
the patch that returns it to its original form.
Except for the fact that the games that are on Steam are versions that the developers put out as like adequate, like
true, like
versions of the game that they're accepting
Good word,
to
by
get
the
to
way. Adequate.
Yeah, at best. But it's
no names.
It's like so. People are maybe they're censoring these games, like you can't put it on Steam if you have this many nipples in it, but more than one, but
quote unquote this many.
Yeah. So the developer's like, my game is still my game if I take out 2 nipples, okay? And are you upset by that? Apparently, this curation group is that actually something to be upset about? Like, the developer has decided that my game is adequate to be released like this, or at least it's acceptable at best, I suppose. But
adequate,
the
if you will.
scenario here is 2 fucking nipples. It's not like whatever it actually is. It's this incredibly
well, no, yeah. I assume they ban
nipples.
things by the number of nipples that are in the game.
Well, to be fair, the actual curator in the interview mentioned Street Fighter V. Yeah. There was a move where she slaps her own ass.
Yeah, Armika.
Yeah.
I think she wins or something, and she slaps her butt.
She slaps her ass, and there's like this little like rainbow that particle effect goes with her hand, and then they like 2 characters butt smash somebody or whatever, and that's the move. The only thing they changed about it was that when the moment when she slaps her ass, they actually zoom in the camera so that you don't see her slap her ass anymore.
Yeah. Is that censorship?
No, but I'm
what
just
are they zooming in on.
Sorry.
This is just to address your point. Is that the people running the curator, this account even said that this is not an example of a game that they would put on there. It's not because
iffy.
it's too
it's iffy because
it's iffy. It's just it's such a little change, like removing a butt or some nipples or 2 fucking nipples in your case.
But this speaks to a larger problem because what they're talking about is that this happened in a closed beta for Street Fighter V, right? So the game is still in production.
That's an even weirder scenario,
right?
To talk about, yeah.
My point is, like, why should I be upset at censorship that the developer has approved?
Because you're paying $60 for a game that you could get the version of that you originally wanted.
This is a version that they want me to have. Like, is there really a problem with me getting the version that they want me to have? Like, this is
no, hold on. That's like saying that everything that gets fucking altered by the MPAA is it was developed or is filmmaker approved. I mean, it was
right.
Yeah, but if somebody
like
really
the alternative is your game makes $0.
But is so I'm gonna sacrifice my like artistic
vision or whatever
to make some money. Like, I don't feel like that's an argument an artist that really wanted their art to get out there would make. Like, okay, you guys don't want to show this, I'm not going to show it in your venue or something.
It's not on Steam anymore. I'll just put it on this.
I'll put it somewhere else. Like, if I really felt that like devoted to it, I wouldn't. Thanks.
Yeah, let's not knock over beer.
But is it really that big of a deal? Like, should I be getting upset because they've accepted a censorship that I won't?
Well, little known fact: Leonardo DiCaprio actually gets raped by the bear in The Revenant. But not everybody thought that would be a good idea. So, they sacrificed their artistic
to
vision.
a CGI scene,
right? So now, if you want the rape bear scene, you got
romantic.
Yeah,
it's more romantic.
I don't know. I love you, Chris.
Well done, sir.
I don't know. I don't feel like it's that like. It's really cool that these people are saying like, hey, if you want to go out and experience these games like in their full version, then do your research and go find it.
Right.
But should they be saying don't buy this game on Steam because it's censored? Absolutely not. I think these guys put this game on Steam because they want it to sell on Steam, and they're accepting the way that their vision has changed because of them putting on Steam. And I'll accept their changes to that vision, I guess.
So would you say that instead of going to Steam and getting the full unadulterated version, that they want to go get the adulterated version? If you
I can just patch it if I want, can't I? There's a mod for that.
Like, probably that's the assumption. Yes.
Like, but isn't the point that at this point, like, I agree with what you're saying in the sense that, like, people are they're trying to make a living, and if they don't think it completely ruins the game and it's like simple changes, they'll make them so that they can put it on Steam and be widely available. But based on your logic, an individual who does care about getting the original source of a game then needs to, on their own, basically vet every single game they're about to buy on Steam. Before they hit purchase, they need to take the time to go outside of the source, research whether or not the game they're getting from Steam is the game they wanted.
That's what I do for every game I buy.
Okay,
yeah, dude,
that's shit.
So concerned that my
I'm not saying that I would make a hentai game, but if I made a hentai game I wanted it on Steam, I would censor it and I'd put it on Steam, and then I would go onto the forums and I would like leak the nudie patch for people.
Do they censor it with like the Japanese porn, like the scrambly thing?
No, I think it's like
Mosaic.
The Cartoon Network version of censoring, where they put like some extra cloth, or they cut out like the blood, or
they just color somebody different. Like they color like more pants on the person or something.
They color pants on you. Those pants have a dick. Those are weird pants.
Disproportionate bulge in those colored pants. That's weird.
It's usually women, that they color more pants on or something.
Oh, that clears it up for me.
Well, it takes away your dick argument.
Go ahead, Chris. What were you going to say?
So for the episode image for this one, we should use. Have you guys ever seen those paintovers of like stills from pornos that it's like a dude with
I know what you're
like MS Paint, kind of like over the top. Yeah. Thanks, Reddit.
Can we make a game out of that right now?
Dude, let's make a censorship game.
Well,
so you're given something that's offensive, and you have to find a way to censor it, but not too much.
I feel
such that it sells, but not that you would be banned from certain sources. And then after you're done, you get like a score or an income on what.
I just want to make the game where you paint over like Jenna Hayes taking a huge cock or something.
Oh my God.
Okay. So Arroyo said the magic word, and I feel like we need John B, the talking couch, to come out of the ceiling right now. And like,
I feel like Jenna. I was gonna say I feel like Jenna Hayes is a better producer than a porn star, but
that's a conversation for another time.
Familiar
so
with
is Kanye West.
Yeah. Hashtag. Anyway, the censorship thing is the biggest deal, right? So, like, I think, Nikk, you were kind of, like, skirting this and getting pretty close in the sense of, like, what is the deal here? In the sense, like, should we be censoring games? Should anybody be censoring games?
No.
Should this Steam group even have to exist?
No, my deal is, like, should I be upset that the game's censored on Steam if the author of the game is accepting of that censorship?
Right, but the question still stands. So, like, should we be censoring games at all? Like, what about stuff that happened with, like, Hatred, like, a year ago? You know what I mean? We were all unequivocally against that game for even existing. We were recommending people not even to, like, watch the trailer. But now we're also talking about the fact that these games might feature some, quote-unquote adult content, and that there are people out there that want to play those games and can play them responsibly or irresponsibly. Who gives a fuck what you do with your game behind closed doors? Right.
It's like, do we want Steam to sell me, like, adult-only games? Like, is that something I want?
I don't know. Is it?
I don't know. Like,
I think it's a whole different topic.
No,
I'm just talking
curious,
about
like,
censorship as a blanket issue here. Like, should games be edited, and should this curation group, even have to exist?
Well, it's hard to say. Like,
the whole artistic argument.
Should games be edited? I would like the answer is usually no. But I mean, like, are people willing to sell their games for the edited, like, in the edited version? Then yes, sure. People are going to still understand what their game means by selling it.
Then is Steam just not the venue for them based on their own restrictions?
Then no, I guess not. Like, Steam has to appeal to as many people as they can, and by doing that, they got to enforce censorship laws because.
But it being as big as Steam is, like, of course, people who develop games want to utilize the biggest platform out there to get their game out, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, and you can do that by, like, distributing a censored version of your game, and then this curation group can go out and tell other people to buy your game or get your game online in other ways. Like,
so you're telling me that. So to answer my question, what you're saying is that yes, this group should exist.
It's a decent idea because it's a community group that's letting you know, and you can choose to use that information or not.
Right? Well, yeah. Why not?
I'm all right with that.
Sure.
Right?
Good.
Were we ever arguing that it shouldn't?
I don't think we were arguing.
That's what he was trying to ask you.
I was just trying to ask that question. But okay. Are we good? We can go.
We're all in agreement. Issue settled.
lightning round, everybody. It's time for some lightning round. Here's how it works. We're gonna take 2 quick topics. Give 4 out of the 5 members of the panel, at least today, a minute to chime in, uninterrupted for the most part. At the end of each minute, we will award a panelist a quantity of some type of points based on nothing in particular, really. So, topic number 1. Video games are getting the big screen treatment this year in a very big way. Ratchet & Clank, Angry Birds, Warcraft, and Assassin's Creed are all on the docket for 2016. What should we be worried about? Is it a cash grab? Yes. Is it fan service? Sort of. Do these games deserve movies? Kind of. Not really. If not, then what does? How do our opinions on the games affect our attitudes toward the mere idea of these movies that are actually happening? And I heard a rumor, by the way, that you, Bull, was directing that horrific Custer's Revenge game. Keep that. God. I'm just kidding. Maybe stew on that for a second. So we're going to give minutes around the clock here. I'm going to skip this one, and we will start with our guest, Mr. Baard. You have 1 minute to tell me why video game movies are good or bad,
or however they
or
the game that you think deserves a movie or doesn't.
Has there ever been a good video game movie? Let's start with that. I'll pose a question. Has there ever been a good video game?
It's your minute, man. You got to use it for yourself.
You have to answer your own question now.
Yeah. Well, my answer is no. I mean, like, what do we have? We have that. I remember that terrible, like, Final Fantasy movie. That was pretty cool.
It was okay. I liked Buscemi.
Blowing my minute here. I struggle to pick up a good video game movie at all. You know, I guess you could construe the Tron remake as a video game movie. Daft Punk was in that. That was okay.
That doesn't make it a video game movie.
It had a fucking video game tie-in. Fuck you! It's a video game movie. It counts. Anyway, that's my minute. I got nothing. What? Okay. There are no video game movies out there that are worth watching. Fuck.
All right. At least not for legitimate reasons. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I will award you.
Do I get 10 points?
A 4-pack of the Urban Family.
Sweet.
Best Laid Plans IPA, because I'm sure you had the best laid plans when you started that minute, but maybe it didn't work out for you. So
I had no plans.
The crossroads of things and stuff include planning and hard work.
Fuck off.
And planning and beer is that's the intersection for that. All right, Mr. Golish. chime in for
What's
a minute.
up?
Hey, buddy. Chime in for a minute on
What are we talking about? Video games
yeah,
and movies?
In movies, yeah. Video games as movies.
Video games and movies. Okay, so maybe the best example of a movie that was a video game is probably
GoldenEye.
No, but that doesn't count.
Other direction.
But it was the Prince of Persia, Sands of Time one or something.
Okay.
Where we had Jake Gyllenhaal.
That movie was shit.
Him too.
Where, Jingle Hall.
where he was in something good for once. But that was fun. I like the Resident Evil ones. I don't know why those movies keep getting made, but I'm grateful for it. And what else came out? There was another one. There was the Final Fantasy one, which was okay. Yeah. Because it was CG, but Steve Buscemi was in it, and he looks just like Angelina Jolie when he was a kid.
What?
Did you hear about that?
No. I'm not. You guys, okay.
Final Fantasy.
Yeah, Steve Buscemi.
I showed him that picture. Their like high school photos are pretty much identical.
Yeah, Steve Buscemi
and Angelina
he was in
Jolie.
it, and he died at one point. It was sad. Spoilers. But the movie came out 15 years ago, so go fuck yourself.
Your minute is long expired, so I'm going to stop you.
No,
there.
we're
But,
done. We're done, but
you're
I'm just
good.
talking about it.
I understand. I'm going to award you
Did you not see it?
a similar 4-pack of Best Laid Plans because...
Of mice or men? Which
And
one?
that's how babies are made?
Which
What's
one?
happening right now?
4 points of Best Laid Plans
A 4-pack of Best Laid Plans.
of mice or men?
Of IPA.
Mice or men?
Men, fine. Good.
Fuck.
Arroyo, you got a minute. Go.
I don't know how to follow what Nick was talking
Yeah,
about.
good luck.
Other than follow his minute, but I will say, in terms of it doesn't matter if it's a cash grab. That's essentially what's happening. That's always going to be what's happening. The Hollywood is driven by money. It always will be. That's why you get fucking Creed after Rocky. That's why you get all these. That's why the X-Files has come back. That's
Hashtag Oscar snub.
yeah. Why are they all white? This, I think that this is just a typical thing. You're going to see more of that coming. And have video game movies been good in the past? No,
Yes.
not really at all. There have been a couple that have been okay, and
Guys,
there will be
Pixels,
more.
guys.
But yeah, Pixels is coming. Oh wait, it's out, but it's the worst. But I think that there will be a good one every once in a while. So feel free to throw a bunch of fucking darts, and eventually I'll hit one, and I'll be so fucking happy, like a little child. Is like the movie, the video game that I liked is now a movie and cool. So I won't watch the ones that suck.
God, I want another minute.
I'm gonna award you a 6-pack of Best Laid Plans.
Thank you.
So you're in the lead.
Is one of them censored?
Well, they do put tape on their cans. So
my argument was way more compelling than that.
Can I have Chris's minute?
It's Chris's turn.
it's Chris's turn.
That's not
Mr. Morris, you got a minute, buddy. Talk to me.
No one plays Angry Birds anymore. They took way too long to make that movie, so I mean,
It's-
whatever. But my favorite video game
You're not
movie
looking forward to that?
is Grandma's Boy, and I hope that they make another one. I think that accurately represents how video games are made. And,
What?
No.
Maybe at Bosky.
Give him a minute.
Keep going. Go.
No, now I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
I guess I want to say about like all these.
You don't
No,
get
you
to
can't.
Bogart.
He's got 20 seconds left.
No, you can't take my 20 seconds.
Can I take your 20 seconds?
Yeah.
Can we talk
No,
about...
fuck off. Move on to the next one.
Can we talk about how Grandma's Boy has just ruined the perception of this industry? And that every fucking Tinder date I go on, Grandma's Boy comes up?
I get.
Go. You have
You
5
got-
seconds, so
you
make
gotta-
it good.
You gotta like we're all the older crowd, so like when I first went to this school, like one of my older friends was like, you're gonna be the gray bush when you go there because you're gonna be the older.
He made
kid.
the reference.
It's like you're gonna be the gray bush.
Awesome. Okay. When in fact I'm actually the gray bush. So congratulations, guys. Mr. Morris, for making reference to possibly one of the very few good video game movies, I will give you a 6-pack and a 22-ounce of Urban Family's Best Laid Plans IPA. Okay?
God, I
Congratulations.
feel like we're fucking sponsored by them. This is all you're gonna give out.
Best Laid
I had to come up with
Yeah.
some, like, I can't use blood boners every episode, guys.
Yeah,
okay?
but just make it relevant to whichever lightning round topic we're doing, and then it's like, hey, there we go, right?
Can I have a blood
It's
boner?
one per.
You want a blood boner, buddy?
Yeah. That sounds great.
Like I would have, maybe awarded
more.
Chris like Resident Evil
How many blood
Seven.
boners?
Revelation,
D6.
the one that was in 3D.
How many blood boners would you give us right now?
0. Okay.
Oh, so disappointed.
Topic 2 for the lightning round. The Video Game Hall of Fame is opening up nominations to the public this year. Folks have until the end of February, and this year it's the 29th. It's election year. Leap year, everybody. Election year, leap year, same thing. Folks, you can hit up www.worldvideogamehalloffame, all one word, lowercase, or .org to take part. We're going to use this as a chance to talk about our own informal nominations based on the Hall's own criteria.
That's not what I'm going to do.
If there is
That's
a game,
not plans.
there's only like 6 or 7 games in the Hall of Fame so far.
Do we get to choose though? Like we can choose any game.
Well, I'll let you know if
It's
I
your
can
own
remember
minute. You
correctly.
can do
It's
whatever
your
you want.
exactly. So
That's right.
I'm going to take the first minute.
Go for it.
All right. I'm going to say Legend of Zelda, the original. That's it, because it's easy pickings. I don't care. Low hanging fruit, motherfuckers.
Wait, this is. I thought this.
S my D, dude.
That was-
S my D.
We got like a minute left. Can we talk during his?
L my Z. Okay. I just want you to understand that. You say what you want about Nintendo. You say what you want about any other fucking console platform. But 90% of us are sitting in this room because we probably played Zelda at one point and we thought this is pretty fucking rad.
It was okay.
Is that it?
I see
Was
my
that-
minute. That's my
Can you
nomination.
just reach over and smack him for me, please? Because I can't do it from across the.
Yeah, why don't we give our next minute to Chris Morris?
Who needs to be smacked, Chris? I want to
Oh,
know.
wait, right before you
Gosh.
get your minute, Morris.
Yeah, Alex has to award me
Alex,
points.
you get to award our host points for that.
what are they measured in blood boners?
Whatever
does
you
not
want, whatever
matter.
you want it to
It's
be.
I award you this fucking ridiculous elephant. What is this thing?
That is the
It's Ellie, isn't it?
no, it's Ellie, the mascot
Ellie
of our
the
show.
elephant,
Yeah.
which is made of ceramic
Yep.
and autographed
She-
by
Andy Baker.
Andy Baker.
Yep.
There you go.
This is yours.
Thank you.
That is the Cheat Codes mascot.
And
in
I
case you're
will
wondering.
bequeath it once again. I'm going to re-gift it.
Back to the Cheat
Hey,
All right, Chris
We got
Morris.
it on tape.
Life is a cycle, everybody.
Yeah, take a
All
take a
right,
picture
all
of
right.
it.
So, I mean, this one's going to be pretty obvious, but I think like any of the Souls games or Bloodborne, I don't know. I can't pick one, man. I guess I'd have to go with like Dark Souls, right? Like that's probably one that like has spawned multiple sequels. They arguably like I don't know. I have to see Alex's face. I can't tell how he's reacting, but they've gotten better with every iteration.
He's not happy.
They're not just like a purely Japanese thing, right? They kind of got like global appeal, and they've also exerted like significant influence on the design of other games, and in fact, even like a whole console. Like I think even PS4 was influenced by like Dark Souls. So
Yeah, they
go
built
figure.
it just for Dark Souls.
It the whole like Twitch streaming and
Knack.
all that stuff, right? Anyway, and I think Zelda was a good pick because I think these games were influenced by Zelda, which even more like cements its like worthiness of being inducted into the Hall of Fame. So there you go.
So the answer is Zelda so far.
Good use of minute.
I'm going to give you 4 Ellie statues for
Thank you.
solidifying my point. And
You don't have that many statues. You've won.
right, but now it's just now it's just a currency that we can pretend
Well,
exists.
no.
It doesn't.
Currency actually
I'm pretty sure that I
exists.
host this show. So, yeah. Just gonna play that card and hope everybody shuts the fuck up for a second.
Who's sitting out?
Huh?
Who's sitting out?
You are.
Cool.
Nick
I
is
was
gonna
just
get
going
the
to
second
bitch about how
because I
dumb
got
the
a
whole
nomination.
thing is.
What's the topic?
Oh my god.
All right. Arroyo.
Just throw 'em in with
No.
it.
I like
All
when,
right.
whenever Nick starts with what's the topic, it's
Yeah.
always a good
Nick.
minute.
I don't
Nick,
know.
you got a minute.
What are we
Your
talking
minute
about?
starts now.
We're talking
Please
about your
tell me.
if you were going to nominate a game to the Video Game Hall of Fame this
No,
year.
just talk
Oh,
about
okay,
the
I
video
got an
game.
idea.
Tell him.
Okay.
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 I would have nominated that Metal Gear Solid game, but I think it came out like 2 years ago. the
Oh, shut up.
Yeah, because it can't be in the Hall of Fame.
yeah, it can't be on the Hall of Fame if it came out that long ago. Because I feel like it just came out yesterday.
So Zelda's excluded. Fuck you guys.
But maybe Alien Isolation or that art game with the dinosaurs. That's pretty good.
I think you got to pick one.
Ark Survival.
Of the three you
Unleashed.
just of the three you just mentioned, which one's got your vote?
God, best game of the year. Is that what you're asking me right now? Best game of
for
the year.
Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame.
Best game of the year.
He just said it straight into his eyes.
10 seconds.
Fuck, I don't know.
This is Nick staring at a rock right now.
Let's go with
Halo 5.
fuck.
Go.
Zelda.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
To be fair, that I felt very under pressure while I was trying to get that answer.
What, best game of the year, which none of us asked you to answer?
Exactly. When you didn't know what the fuck you were talking about in the first place. That's good.
Jesus.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you felt that pressure.
Oh no, it's my turn.
It is, Mr. Bard. You're gonna seal the deal here for us. Last minute for the lightning round and for the show.
2 games of the year.
Okay.
1.
You mean for the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, for the Hall of
Best
Fame.
game.
Go.
The game of your Hall of Fame. Number 1 is Due Process, which you should check out at dueprocess.info.
Hey, when's that coming out?
Fucking never. And
came out
fuck
already.
off and die. The reason being is you make plans and shoot mans in that order. And
I thought
it
you
actually
make
fucking
mans.
works. We did it. Fuck you guys. Number 2. Hold on. Yeah, no imposter syndrome. We did it. 20 seconds left. DayZ. Because that is a game that turns you from a normal, like, good Samaritan, do no harm, Bambi, to a complete psychopath in this Nietzschean journey that is beautiful and which The Legend of Zelda has shit on. So fuck you guys.
I'm gonna re-gift Ellie
dropping the mic.
to Alex Bard
Yeah.
here. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're just gonna palm that like you're fucking Kobe or
I
something.
just get 1. Not 4 Ellies.
But you get the
just
real one.
Yeah.
But you get the real one.
Oh, I can
The
keep
actual
it.
Ellie.
Sweet.
That reminds me of the social experiment video we just saw with DayZ, right? Where he gave people guns
Yeah, he was just he's walking around and he's giving people loaded guns
And then
for free, and then
for
they'd
free.
always
It's like,
shoot him.
hey, I like you. Here's this thing, and then they pick it up and they shoot him dead.
Because
Sounds about right.
that's a cool game.
I think you described it well from what I've seen. I think that was an appropriate
So you've heard it here first. Game of the year.
/ Hall of Fame nominee.
Apparently,
Game of the Year. Hall of
apparently
Fame.
Game of
It
the
might
Year
be
is Hall of
Zelda, but I
Fame?
think it's
It's
Due
not
Process /
Zelda
Zelda
is
Do
disqualified because it came out more than 2 years ago. So.
Do we have a real nominee? Like, what would you do it?
I think mine was the real nominee is Zelda. Legend of Zelda.
That came out this year?
No, it's not. It's not Game of the Year.
It's
Goddamn
the
it!
Hall
Shut
of
up.
Fame,
And
like
listen,
the
it's
Rock and Roll Hall of
which
Fame.
means you need to have existed for like 20 years
Christ.
Okay,
before
so-
you're even eligible.
That's hence the joke about Game of the
So
Year.
EVE Online.
Oh god.
Yeah,
damn.
that's a good one.
I saw that coming a fucking mile away.
That's what I thought.
fuck Zelda.
That's what I was
Come
hoping the
on.
minute was going to be about because it would give
About
Nick a
Eve?
fucking reason to fucking
Yeah.
talk about Eve. Anyway,
God, fucking spaceships and shit.
And
Fuck.
and
spreadsheets.
spreadsheets.
Forgot the
Wait.
spreadsheets.
God
yeah.
damn spreadsheets.
All right, Chris.
Morris.
Yo,
I know it's late on the East Coast, and thank you for putting up with us, and we love you. Hang in there, all right, buddy.
I'm only
well.
so.
And a very, very large and humble thank you to our guest, Mr. Alex Baard.
You're welcome.
We feel pretty welcome. I think we've done it. We can stick a fork in episode 82. I think. Always a pleasure hanging out with you, sir. This is your second go around.
Likewise, yeah. I'll be back
Yes, you will.
when the game
We'll
ships.
have you for
Win the game, which is
for the
never.
twa.
So,
Yeah.
one more time, where can people hit you up on Twitter, and where can they find out more about Due Process?
Dueprocess.info. The Twitter is Giant Enemy Crab for Due Process.
Crabs. I said crabs earlier.
You said
Twitter's
clams.
not important, right?
FYI.
Yeah.
Giant
it's the
enemy
Giant Enemy
clams.
Clam.
And if people want to stalk you personally, what's your Twitter handle?
At AR Baard, but good luck at me getting back to you because I'm way too cool for Twitter.
This is like a theme lately. Like nobody uses fucking Twitter.
Yeah, I get it.
It's good.
What's that? I use Facebook. That's where all the kids are at, right?
Thank you, dear listener, for being here and listening in. We know you're always curious. We are always curious to hear what you think, so please feel free to join in the conversation. Hit us up on the Facebook page, on Twitter. We use it, despite what other people might think. But and you can always hit us up at our website, cheatcodespodcast.com. Stay tuned for a new episode coming next week. I love all of you. and as much as I hate you, but mostly love. And fuck it, no spoilers. Kevin Spacey is Kaiser Soze, everybody.
God,
Farewell, you cocksucker motherfucker.
God damn it.